Thank you for joining the Twin Falls County Pest Abatement District. As we prepare our trucks for another season, we are going to be setting up our trucks for a BTI treatment that we use for black flies. As you can see here, we are going to go ahead and remove the shipping protection that we have on each tote. This is how they come in. They'll have a retaining wire as well as a cap over the white bung. That is a small 2-inch piece that's screwed into the center of the red cap for attaching or filling the totes. You can remove that white bung and change it with a pressure relief valve if you choose to. We just go ahead and drill a hole through the little membrane that's in the center of that white cap. That way we can get pressure equalization when we're actually pumping the BTI out of the tank. Otherwise, the tank itself will start to collapse on itself as you suck the material out of it using your pump. Go ahead and remove the red cap. Now that tool that we were using, it is one that we made in-house. It's just a piece of rebar that's been around the cap with a piece to make it a wrench. Now this piece right here, this is just a PVC pipe with a valve on it so we can restrict airflow. And we mix a tote for about 30 minutes, trying to hit every corner as well as the bottom to really mix and suspend that BTI in the medium as much as possible. Capture any loose or excess BTI that happens to cling onto the PVC. We do it with just a simple bucket. It drains onto that bucket. We can then add it onto the BTI later on. Here we're just going to go ahead and add a cap and reducer with a 90-degree and a quick release on it as well. These are parts you can buy at any commercial plumbing center or irrigation center. Everything that we use is modular. Here we have our truck. It's set up for our totes as well as foggers. We have preset areas for tie downs as well as stops. That way we can set it in there and just pretty much it's ready to go. Everything's preset. It's all modular. Really simple. It doesn't take much time to actually set it up. We will be adding a 1-inch line with a disconnect, that quick disconnect right there. We're also going to go ahead and add a zip tie. That way it holds that disconnect in place because we will be traveling on some very bumpy roads, dirt roads, canal banks, and they can tend to, those tabs can tend to vibrate open and we'll get a small drip. This alleviates that drip. Now we go ahead and put one tote in and refill that tote throughout the season because it's just easier for us to do it that way. We can also be mixing a tote while we're out doing a treatment if we have to do multiple large treatments in one day. It just maximizes time. That right there is just a stop. It keeps the tote from sliding back and forth. There are tabs on each side of those rails that will hold a tie down, which actually holds the tote into the truck. We're going to go ahead and add our hose, our application hose and a pump right now. Notice that it's mounted on a toolbox. This does help us out in a pickup truck because it reduces the footprint of the overall unit and we can store larvicides, surfactants, or adulticides in that locked box if necessary for doing mosquito work. It is fair to say, or to make a note here, that the pump is more efficient when it is mounted lower or at the same elevation as the BTI itself. You can see right here it's elevated a little bit, so it has to pull that BTI up to its level, and it does restrict or retard the process just a little bit. But if that pump was lower in elevation, gravity would be working for us and it'd make it easier for that pump to actually work. Now that is a 12-volt pump, it's not gas, so we do need to provide a 12-volt power to it. We do this with a simple 4-pin 12-volt trailer connector that's attached to that wire. You'll see that here in just a second. But we're going to go ahead and run that wire behind the pump to get it out of the way. Here is that trailer connector. Now, we do use the same connector for all of them, so it doesn't matter if that pump goes into which truck. It's all set up, ready to go. Again, we try to be as modular as possible. Here's a flatbed truck. Again, the size for those rails will fit either a tote or a fogger. We do have a rinse tank on there that's just filled with about 50 gallons of water with an electric pump and a nozzle. So that way, if we do happen to have any spills or anything like that, we can go ahead and take care of those spills by washing off our equipment, rinse our tank at a treatment site. So we don't have a rinse site anywhere. We actually use the rinse as a treatment. You can see here that that pump is also at the same elevation as the tote. Again, gravity works for us there in this area to where it actually pushes the BTI into the pump, and then the pump pressurizes our treatment hose. You can see a Mariama right there as well as a lockbox. That lockbox is so that we can go ahead and hold a larvicide product as well as surfactants and liquid adulticides for foliage applications. You see a Mariama there with a lockbox that we can hold our larvicide products in. Again, here's just a really quick disconnect. 2 valves, so we can go ahead and shut off product. Our pump, now this pump, again, it's 12-volt pump. You can see the trailer connector there, that 4-pin connector. Now we are running and priming that pump. Here's a rear view of that rinse tank as well as our tie downs to hold that in place.